Hang on. All right. I think we're running. I think we're live. Hey, everybody. Paul Foster here with you. And I have with me here David Ford, who's a filmmaker and an actor and a writer and my Mississippi anything producer. Got a greatest hits album out there, man, that I don't know.
I think that about covers
it. So he's kind of like he agreed to come on. David's agreed to help work on In Plain Sight, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I really kind of wanted to get his take on indie film and the process and everything that he's had to go through, the lumps and the bumps and all that stuff. And I kind of wanted to start out by, David, welcome. I'm the worst interviewer in the world, man. So
I'm the worst interviewee, but hey, I'm glad to be here.
Cool, man. So besides, agreeing to work on
pushing for that, but it's a struggle, but I still got to pay the bills like everybody else. And so right now I'm also personal training, and I do real estate in East Texas area. So, if you need to get in shape or you need to buy or sell a house, I can help with that.
There you go. You never know. We might get some leads out of this. Hopefully.
Yeah, you never know.
So now you've how long have you been acting now? I mean, how long have you been in this? Working at this?
Well, I don't know if you can count high school, because I've never done it like on it like, theater or anything like that. But what started getting me the bug it was actually around junior high. My brother-in-law left his camcorder over, the big VCR tapes. And so I had that one day. So I started playing around with it. And then next thing you know, I'm making like these little Saturday Night Live skits at home with my friends. And I did that all through high school, and I would show my friends at parties and all that kind of stuff, make everybody laugh. But I really never thought about it on a serious level until I got into college. And I was actually an extra on this show called The Doughboy. They filmed it up there in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And I remember I thought it was a big deal to be an extra. I didn't know nothing about film. I thought I was going to be an overnight Hollywood star because I was an extra, and at the same time, I was watching people on set, and I was like, hey, that looks fun. Now you get to be somebody else. That looks fun. I can do that. And of course, it was many, many, many years later before I actually decided to try to do that.
Wow. Now, what was your first leading role that you did?
Well, the first professional acting role that I had was in a
paycheck. You got
yeah.
Wasn't deferred.
No, it was a real gig, and I don't know how much they had on that movie, but they had everything that a big movie has, But it was a low budget horror film called Cherub. Or I say a B movie horror film, and not really low budget because it has some money. And so I actually wasn't even go to the audition. I can't remember how I found it. Yeah. But I found it. It was in Dallas, and I remember waking up that morning and thinking, at 6 o'clock, you ain't gonna make it as no actor. Just go ahead and sleep in a little bit. Just forget about it. But I felt like my body just get up. Like against my mind or something. I don't know what was going on. It's like my body and mind, but my body got up and said, "Hey, if you don't go, you'll never know. You got to go, and just to at least bury this thought of what if." And I end up getting the role after about 2 weeks of callbacks and stuff. So
now I'm gonna pull this up over on this other screen just in case any people ask questions. I don't know what's going on with the Google chat. Everybody else, because I'm sure somebody's gonna say something. But all right, so your first paying role was Cherub, and then what made you decide to get it? I mean, how'd you get into writing?
Well, I actually started writing in high school. I was always wanting to try to write this book, but I always saw it in movie form in my head. And I was like, I always saw it on the big screen when I was writing it. So I was like, you know what? And one day I was in Hastings and I seen this book by Richard Donner, who did the Lethal Weapon movies on screenwriting. So I bought it and I started learning. Then I ordered the script of Rocky and started learning just the format, of that. So I've been writing for like 20 years.
Wow.
Never sold a screenplay. but it's because it's a big. But I don't try to sell what I write now because I want to produce my own stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not interested in selling to Hollywood, but I'm interested in trying to produce my own scripts that I've written. And not all my scripts are worthy of probably production. Maybe a lot of they may be B budget production movies. Like I wrote one, just to give you an example, and I think it would be great sci-fi movie. It's called Insecta, and it's about these people get trapped on this remote wilderness place in the cabin where all the insects are like big, like a wasp is the size of a shoe.
Like bears.
You know? But I think that would make a great B movie, but I don't try to produce all the stuff I've written, but I've written quite a lot.
You know, I'm convinced. My brother, my older brother, they love campy B movies. Not even like good story B. I mean, like really bad B movies. They just, and that's when I learned. You know, there's an audience for everything.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on, Sharknado.
I know. I'm telling you, some of my sorrier scripts or B budget scripts are still beat a lot of what's out there. You know, if it was made. But
yeah, I mean, it's you never know. You just never know what's I kind of I don't. It sounds similar in a way. You've obviously been writing it way longer than I have. I kind of got it in spurts. You know, I did a little bit in high school. It all sucked.
Yeah,
it was bad. 20-page feature, and then I did one when I was like 30, but I couldn't afford the gear, and then I always said I'm the world's worst writer, but it seems like it's really difficult to find a collaborative situation where I could option script or I could get someone to write it and let me go and develop it. It just seems like that's the route. So I write more out of necessity.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna trust me with their stuff, so I got to make my own. But I don't think I'm a very good writer.
I think you are, because I read, you know, in plain sight, and I liked it, and I was like, it's, you know, it got me hooked on it. So,
well, I will say I'm good in 10-minute spurts.
I hear you.
So I kind of want to let's kind of fast forward. You got in, you did some stuff. And really what the big, hey Nathan, how's it going? So we got you got in and you were and Nathan, you just joined us. So we're talking to David Ford. He's a director, writer, and producer, and an actor. He's going to work with us on In Plain Sight. He's taking on really the lead role, and it's a demanding role. And but he's been lead. I mean, you've done something that I would consider the absolutely hardest thing to do. Having directed and produced stuff, I think it's real. I don't know how you're able to direct and act at the same time. I can't direct and chew gum at the same time, man. So
yeah,
it's
tough, you know. But you know, and as I start getting to the bigger films, you know, like my next film, I'm going after some higher investments and stuff like that. So as the films grow bigger and we try to get some star name attached, I think I'm probably going to hand off the directing, you know, job to somebody that I can trust. Hopefully, you know, possibly. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm about 99%. But I want to be able to focus on the role. You know, go to my trailer and like drink apple juice or whatever and just chill out and focus on the role. You know, and I have to, you know, wear the producer's hat and everything else too.
Is it hard to separate that when you've written something and you got somebody else kind of like, I guess say driving the story, and you're in it, so you're now only driving that character?
Well, you know, sometimes as an actor, I ask the director, and sometimes the director has to fire the producer, which is me also. So, you know, sometimes me, myself, and I, we get into little arguments here and there, but you know, it all works out. But it can get confusing, especially to the people on set. Like, well, you're the director, and yeah, but you also acting. Yeah, who wrote it? Well, I wrote it too. But I can never do it alone. So don't for my audience watching, I always have help. I always have lots and lots of help. Like, you know, I can name a whole bunch of people. Like my partner in Saving Oscar Productions is, you know, Stuart Miller. And then Tony Gibson jumped in to help me on, you know, Something in the Woods to co-direct it with me. So I always have help.
Well, speaking of Something in the Woods, now was that your first feature?
Yes and no. There's a
story there.
Yeah, there is a story. I actually made Preacher Man once before as my first film, and took us about a month almost to make it. And I didn't know anything about making film then. You know, but we did it. We did it. You know, it was like 120-page script, and we did it in like 18 days.
Wow.
And but it was kind of guerrilla style, but we ran into some problems there with, which I learned a lot from on the legal aspect. You know, I always get a contract signed before you go on set with an actor or anybody else. So we end up just deciding to not make that movie and remake it when we can make it better. I actually looked at some other old footage of it the other day. I was like, I'm glad I'm remaking this movie, because I didn't know what I was doing on that scene. I mean, that kind of looked bad, you know. So
like you're getting a free test pass.
Yeah, for sure. But I learned so much.
Some of the stuff that worked, some of the stuff that maybe didn't work out the way you thought it would, or at the time you're like, well, I wish I could go back, but you know, we're done. This is what we got. Now you get to fix all those and you get better. I think I saw did you have a trailer out for Preacher Man a long time ago? Or?
Yeah, we did have a little trailer, and it had some, you know, the Preacher Man song, Son of Preacher Man.
I liked it. I remember seeing that. And I don't know. I think we may have had a little bit of a discussion. You didn't give me this much information at the time, but I think you kind of like tipped me off that, you know, you ran into some issues on that production. But I love the trailer. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was definitely entertaining, and the fact that you're going to go back and you're going to get another shot at it is cool. And is that your next major thing that you're working on?
Yeah, that's the one I'm trying to get interest in and talk to investors. And right now we're only shooting for like $125,000, which is really not that much money for a movie, but it's a lot more than I've had to work with. You know, the most that we've really had to work with is a little over $20,000, and that's still nothing for a movie. I mean, that you can't even pay everybody with that. You know, you just got to have to. You know, it mainly goes to your crew and food and editing and stuff.
Hey, craft services, man, that costs a lot of money.
Right. People eat on set, buddy, and I'm one of them. I'm in that crafty van or whatever, 24/7. But yeah, I learned a lot though. So that's what actually inspired Something in the Woods, because I kind of sat around for a couple of days with my, you know, head down, or actually a couple of years, I guess. But and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make another movie, and it's going to be something I can do on a small budget. And I need a big star, but I can't get a name actor. So who could I get? And then it came to me.
Who's free?
He's a pretty big star, you know.
Nice. So, all right. Now, so you mentioned it. For the people that are watching, not everybody's probably seen this, but I actually have queued up the trailer for Something in the Woods. So if you guys haven't seen this, it's available on Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah, Something in the Woods is kind of like everywhere on VOD. It's like iTunes, Google, Vudu. You know, it's not on Netflix though. It is not on Netflix, because
you know, the Netflix thing. There was a time when that was the World Series of indie film.
Right.
Get the Netflix deal. Ever since they signed they started their own film department, and they're making their own stuff, and then they're bringing in big names, giving them millions of dollars. I don't even know if that's a realistic indie market anymore.
No, it's not. I mean, you got to usually have like a recognizable face now in your movie to get in, or you know, or be foreign.
So you can go through, for people that don't know this. I mean, you can go through an intermediary or distributor.
Yeah.
And what they do is then you're going to end up paying for it one way or another, right?
Yeah.
So if you get on the list and then you're like, yes, I'm in Netflix. Where's my movie? It's like at the bottom of the list. You got to. It's so hard. You got to get it up there to get the recognition, to get the views. And Netflix is definitely. I don't know that it's necessarily indie friendly anymore. I personally, I think it became un-indie friendly while I was in the process of doing my film. So.
Right.
But no, I mean, so all right. So we have Something in the Woods. Why don't you give us a little? What was the movie? What what it's about, and we'll run this trailer. And you guys can all find it on Amazon, Hulu. Is it on iTunes?
Yeah, it's on iTunes, Google Play, Voodoo, Xbox Video. I think it's on PS4, Sony, or whatever.
It's
So
everywhere. If you haven't watched this movie, watch it. And
YouTube. It's on YouTube. Not the free version of YouTube, but the rental version.
let's see. We're gonna come over here. Here, I'm gonna share my desktop, and let's see what happens when I play this.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just tell them Something in the Woods is pretty much it was inspired by, I guess you would say, actual events. So I read a lot of Bigfoot stories, or not really stories. I guess encounters that people have had, and so I just kind of culminated some encounters of what people said happened, and kind of wrote it into a screenplay. And so, even though there's different parts of the movie that happen in different encounter stories, I kind of put it all together. And so, for the most part, like about 98% is what people said happened. Of course, we had to dress it up and dialogue and all that, because it was the stories. But so we kind of had to give some backbone to it in that retrospect. And I decided Bigfoot because I didn't know that East Texas was a hot spot for sightings, and then Jefferson Bigfoot Conference, they have that every year.
Yeah.
And so the Texas Bigfoot Conference in Jefferson, Texas, is what I meant to say. And so I decided to try my hand at a Bigfoot film, and that was really my second film, but the first film to actually get to the part of production. So that was a whole new level of learning.
Yeah. Well, here, let's let them watch this. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Dad, I was thinking, some of those stories that the loggers were telling, was there any truth to that?
I didn't want to tell you that. I'm afraid of the woods.
Well, I'm not a kid anymore, so spill it.
The story you told me, I will never forget.
I saw the hairy man today.
He keeps going on and on about this hairy thing he saw on the field day.
And probably just a bit.
That doesn't look Beresford.
So, you mean like wild animal? It wasn't no bear. Never saw anything like it before in my life.
John, tell me what you saw.
I don't know what it was. I never saw anything like it before in my life. This thing was huge, about 8 feet tall, covered in hair.
I don't mean to worry you, John, but that thing killed one of my dogs and my calf. Come on, man. If Bigfoot exists, they'd have done found something. They'd have found a body or some bones or something. Maybe they don't want to be found.
I'm not going to let this thing run us off our property. This is our home. It's an animal.
I don't want to be here alone with the kids, John. It's not safe.
What you got in mind?
Trap. I'm lured in. Kill it.
So I could ask some issues here.
That's like it, Carl.
So what do you think this thing is?
I'll tell you what it is. Sasquatch. That's what it is.
I've heard stories about Sasquatch, but I thought it was all just legend.
Most people don't believe in them. You see one up close.
Nice. Nice. That's, let's see, am I back yet?
No, I still see coming soon. Maybe you're coming soon.
Maybe I'm going to come back soon here. All right, let me stop that. All right. Let's see what happened to me. Let's see. Go here and go back to my. Okay. So, application. Where am I at? Good question. I don't know where I went. Google Hangout. There it is. All right, we'll share that. Oh, that's not good.
Ooh.
It's not that. There I am. Okay, I came back at some point here. So yeah, that's now when was the movie originally released?
2000. I think it was December or maybe January 2015. It was somewhere in there. We made it in like 2014 and released it like a year later.
Wow. How long did it take to make the all the principal photography and everything?
It's like 18 days.
18 days for a feature, and you shot that. Where was the location?
Mainly around Jefferson and Caddo area.
And what time of year did you film this?
At the hottest part of the year.
So you shot it in the hottest time of the year. So
in a house that didn't have air conditioning.
August, September.
At Tom Walker, if you're watching, we shot it in Tom's house. Tom, you got to get some AC. You know, 21st century here.
The house was really cool. Now let me ask you this, because anybody that makes a film, I mean, you're gonna get the trolls. You're gonna get the trolls. They're gonna come out of the woodwork.
Oh yeah.
I'm far from immune from that myself. And was there like any one thing that the trolls jumped on you about that just like you're just like, really? Seriously? I mean, 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, you're going to nail me on that? Was there any one thing that got you? I'll tell you mine, you tell me yours.
Well, just in general, a lot of people have no clue what it takes to make a movie. A lot of people think if you make a movie, then you have millions of dollars to make a movie. They don't think about people that struggles to make a movie and stuff like that and have limited resources. So, the trolls come out of the woodwork, the haters and the people like, I've received hate mail, I'm the worst actor in the world. I should be killed. And then again, I get love mail, people that like say some crazy stuff to me. So the best thing you can do is really not read the reviews too much.
Yeah, I had to stop. It became depressing.
Because, even Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman, all those big guys, there's people that hate them, that hate their acting and stuff.
Yeah,
but nobody's not ever. I'm not trying to make everybody love me. I'm not in some kind of love game here. I just make movies because I like to make movies. And if I've entertained one person, then I've done my job. And I hope that person's not just myself. But
all right, well, you ducked my question, but I'll tell you mine. That was a good dodge. In Unwanted, there's a kind of like towards the end of the film, there's a climactic scene where there's, a fight in a bathroom. And the house we filmed in didn't have any bathrooms that were big enough or kind of like positioned in a way. There was nothing off the hallway. So I had to kind of green screen a bathroom. And I used our bathroom at my house.
Yeah.
We just had that remodeled and it was very vintage looking. And in the fight scene, we're conscious of we're trying to be conscious of period accurate continuity, and we felt like the bathroom was period accurate, so we would be okay. And in the fight scene, the camera swings left to right, and like count 2 frames, man, 2 frames, the toilet was in the scene. And somebody just lambasted me about that was a Glacier Bay 2850 model.
Yeah. Oh, well, that happened. I see what your question was. Yeah, I mean, I got ripped on a couple parts and something in the woods, especially the tags on this truck. It's supposed to be the 60s model truck or whatever, and the tag said like, I can't even remember, 1998 or something. And so I couldn't take the refrigerator out of Tom's house. We just couldn't do it. So I had to put a big old cover over it. And so many people like ask me, "What's that covered up back there?" I was like, "Well, just forget about it. Watch the scene. Who cares what's back there? It's a big coffin."
You're looking at the wrong thing. You need to be looking over here.
But yeah, we had a lot of stuff like that. We even had a person walking in the background at one point in the film, and a lot of people don't even notice it. But then there's a person like digging something in the ground in the background, and but we couldn't edit it out, so we just hope people didn't see it, and most people haven't seen it. There are some that do.
It's funny you say that. When I shot my short film in August of last year, bedtime, I had to bring the young lady, the child actor, back for a couple of pickups a couple nights later. And I mean, I was like determined I was going to make some things right. The mistakes I made in my feature, I was going to learn, I was going to fix them. And this was my big test to see if we could kind of progress and grow. And so I have her run to shut the closet door, right? And what I didn't realize is I had taken the matte box cover off my camera and set it on the shelf next to that door. And so she runs, and I'm like, I was being a continuity crazy person in that. And then I'm going through the edit, and I'm going, oh no, I didn't do that. So my solution is I put an ambient filter on it. And I did this vignette around the edges of the door, so draw the audience attention to the door. And then I darkened everything around it, so you would focus on the door. I draw all their attention. Nobody comments the fact there's a matte box out of nowhere. There's a matte box just sitting on that shelf. They never notice it because it's just I'm drawing their attention to the door.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff happens, and I'm going to have make sure on my next one that I have a continuity supervisor, because I didn't have that before. So I'm going to make sure I try to fill all the important roles,
That is like, for me, that's Vicky Jones Stanfield. I call her my continuity Nazi because she hounds me constantly about that.
Yeah, she's good.
I love her to death, and I'm just like, it's going to be okay. Because she'll take it to the extreme, and God bless her. Without her, I'd probably be all over the map. It'd be like they're walking in pajamas in one shot, cut away, come back to them, they're fully dressed.
Right. And you forget when you're like shooting 12-hour days and just going fast as you can, and all of a sudden, hey, I forgot to switch shirts for that scene. So
that's funny. The truck tags. I mean, there are people they just live for looking for that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
it didn't help though, it was right in your face. So we kind of had a close up of something, and it was right there.
It's like right there.
Yeah, we tried to track it and do some special effects, but
cover it
just wasn't working.
Sometimes it actually make it worse. You draw more attention to it than you intended.
Yeah, well, at one point we did it look like the tag was floating in the air as the camera was moving. So I was like, yeah, let's just live with it.
Just live with it. Screw it. They see it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then moving on, after you did that, you kind of like you spent several, when you and I met in the beginning of 2016, I think it was.
Yeah.
Working with Kelly Johnson and his film. And that's the first time you and I had talked, and I think your film had been out for a few months now, as far as Something in the Woods. But it wasn't long after that you kind of started production on this other project, Sense of Urgency.
Yeah.
And so what motivated that particular project? Because that's kind of an interesting. You kind of went out on you took some risks there with the subject as far as being Christian based with some action in it. Usually you don't see a lot of that, and I thought it was interesting and I thought it was cool that you guys went after that.
Yeah, I had I was actually the co-writer of that script. The script came to me and I seen it, and I was like, I like the script, but I wanted to make some changes in it, and I think it was an older script the guy wrote, so he kind of wrote it and put it on the back shelf, and then I got a hold of it, and I was like, hey, I think it would be a lot better if we did this. So he let me come in as a co-writer, and that was actually nominated for Best Screenplay for a feature film at the International Christian Film Festival. So I was pretty astounded to be nominated, because I've never even entered a contest or anything. So my first script, I guess, even though it was co-written, we got nominated. So, that was a big notch on my belt. So, I was proud of that. But anyways, going back to your question, I'm good at going around questions, but it kind of just fell in my lap, really. And, we had an investor said, hey, I can help you. So I was like, okay. We kind of went into pre-production pretty quick on it. We didn't really have a lot of time to make it, but we did it, you know. And that one's actually just now going into distribution. We don't even know what it's going to do yet. But like you said, it is a Christian film. The trailer on it, which I guess you're going to show people in a sec. We've been having a hard time getting into churches because the trailer makes it look a lot more violent than it is. So we're thinking about recutting the trailer.
Oh yeah.
And maybe leaving the last part out, you know. And I was even going to ask you later on
about that. The movie, man.
I was going to ask you about that later, Paul. I mean, and we'll talk about that later, but maybe just cutting that one part out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Well, let's show the trailer. Let's kind of see it for how it is. Let's see. Let's see if I can make myself disappear again. Where was it? Let's see.
I don't know if the trailer looks laggy to the viewers like it looks on my screen, but if it does, they can always go look it up.
Yeah, I'll put I'm going to put all the tags below. I'll make sure links to the trailers, links to your, was it Little Cherub Films? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely link to all those in this. I'm trying to figure out which one. There's stuff open. Hold on a second. Let me. Okay, so we're gonna go to that, and then I've got to. Which one this is? Oh. Okay. I got a bunch of stuff open here. I'm working on
that's all right.
People's films here, and it's all down below. All right, here we go. We're crank this thing up and get going. Here we go.
I think you're still too ashamed of me.
I'm not ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of my parents. What in the world are you wearing? I have better things to do today than to drag me down.
You're the one that wanted to adopt.
I've decided I'm going to find my real parents.
Your mother? She's still alive and well.
Where is she?
She lives just south of Austin.
Parents grounded me from my car. I guess I'll take a bus or something.
Driver, this isn't the right way to Austin.
Attention passengers, you're being bus checked.
Okay, I didn't sign up for this. Nobody wants to be here, so just shut up.
We all need to collectively decide who dies first. I'm not playing this stupid game.
Look, I got a family.
Death is not the end, Manuel. It's only the beginning for those in no credit.
Now!
They've already killed people. We have to get in there before they kill somebody else.
I'm there for it.
I said we voting you off.
Nice. Hey, I came back faster that time.
Yeah.
I'm getting this down. Honestly, look, I mean, we were kind of talking about this. Hey, Modbot, what's going on, man? We were kind of talking about this before the in the kind of pre live stream. The concept of what do you put in a trailer? There was a scene in Unwanted, a jump scare in Unwanted that was probably the best jump scare in the whole movie, I thought, and it was like the best visual effect I had done for the entire film. And my, it was like, do I give that to you as someone coming to watch the film, or to encourage you to watch the film, or do I hold that back in hopes that what I do put in that trailer gets you to come watch the film, and then you get that little extra nugget of love in the movie? And I realized, I was like, well, what if they don't see something they need to see in the trailer that really kind of makes them want to see the movie? And if this jump scare is what does it, and it's kind of at the end when the girl comes out of the back of her head, I was like, then I'm not really, I'm like doing a disservice. I'm not going to get the audience that I need to watch the movie, to give the movie a chance. When I watched your trailer, I'm gonna be honest, the thing that hooked me, made me want to see the movie, was the last line. Everybody's got to die. Now, that's coming from just general audience, but if I can definitely see how, like, if it's faith based and you're trying to reach out to audience, churches and stuff, how they would probably be like, well,
Yeah.
I thought the movie had.
We need another trailer for the churches, and we need we can leave that trailer just for the public. But like if we're trying to have a screening at a church, well, they may want to see something a little bit. At the same time, though, I don't want to make any qualms about there is some violence in this film. I mean, life is violent.
Yeah.
So, but it's still, I think, still a PG film. I mean, there's no cursing, there's no nudity.
The hardest part is to truly appreciate and understand this film. You have to watch it. You can't just base it off the trailer.
Right.
It's like when I watched the movie, I went into it with just like you would any film. Like you probably would watch my movie, and you go in and you're kind of like you're grading me on a curve because it's indie film.
Yeah.
And you're cutting me some slack because I had no money. So,
right.
So the expectation bar comes way down.
Right.
I mean, we all do it, right? But I went in and, every time I watch a movie, whether it's indie, a short, or feature, or feature studio film, I mean, I'm always kind of like trying to learn from it, break it down into its technical aspects and understanding. And I mean, I was sitting there. I really enjoyed your movie, man.
Well, thank you.
I've watched it. I still haven't forced my well, I don't have to force her. I could tell her, like, you got to watch this movie. It's actually pretty good. I mean, because you just don't know what to expect. Especially, I mean, like you said, I knew that you guys turned it around quick. I knew that you decided to. You had to wait till the hottest time of Waco, Texas, to go down there.
Right. I made 2 movies, and they're both like in the 110 weather, no AC.
Like if you're shooting like an Arctic action flick, you're gonna like shoot that in the Mojave Desert.
I said my next film will not be in the summer.
No.
I mean, I had to do it because just because of indie film, and I had to get the people on board when they're off in the summer. A lot of them,
That's enough. How hard is it to get people? Trying to explain to everybody or share with us how difficult it is. I mean, how many people worked on Sense of Urgency? Rough number if you don't know.
I'm just guessing 40, maybe 50.
And getting that many people coordinated for how many days of filming? You had 3 weeks of filming, right?
Yeah, actually, I think it was about 20 days or something like that. 22 days, something like that.
So for all you people out there that are interested, let's put that into perspective. All right. You're talking a lot of people that most of them have day jobs.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to coordinate to get them on set, to keep them, I'm sure, you set up your shot schedule and everything and in space to get people in, just have the required people you need to get the stuff done on that day.
And you can't pay all of them. That's the thing. I mean, you got to pay your key. Like the DP is not going to work for free. He's not going to bring his camera out there and work for free. Sound guy's usually not going to work for free. Stuff like that. I mean, you got to pay certain people. But so and the rest of the money, is going for food and resources and all that kind of stuff.
Food, you got props. Location. Sometimes you got to pay your location, right?
Yeah.
You had a helicopter. Was that free?
Yes, it was.
Nice. You had someone that said, "Yeah, you want me to move? Yeah, I got a helicopter. All right, you're in."
Yeah, we got the helicopter. I mean, I don't know how much that would have cost on a real movie to get that for half a day, but we avoided that. God provided for us. Got cop cars and all that for free and locations. So I mean, we call it free, but we could also call that soft money because it's really what our production company brought into it. all that's still worth something, you know.
Oh,
It might be
absolutely.
worth $25,000 what we brought to it. So
And the idea is that, you know, it is a little bit of quid pro quo.
yeah,
You know, you're gonna help them on something, or in some cases, and they'll
right.
help you. But yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't seen that movie, that one I know for a fact on Amazon Prime, because that's where I got to watch it. Something in the Woods, I ended up buying 2 copies of it because my cousin stole my first one and lost it.
I appreciate the support.
So, no, anytime, man. So the other big thing, so you've got your movie coming out, and then you're doing. Now I was fortunate enough to have a small part, very sliver, and sense of urgency, and not acting. No, I got a face for behind the camera. Trust me, and my acting skills justify it. So I could show you. You can go to one of my YouTube channels. I can show you. There's a good reason why I'm not in front of the camera. It's bad, but no, I got. It was cool. You called me. You needed a quick pickup.
Yeah.
And we met out there in 30 minutes. Boom, boom. Got the pickup done, and then because you like that, you had a quick. We were at a get together, and then you asked me to take a look at a visual effects shop for you.
Yeah.
And I was like stoked because you guys don't understand. I mean, it's like I'll be the first to tell you, just because you do something on a movie doesn't mean it's going to make the final cut.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I feel bad because you know, Kelly was helping me on this hand shot and special effect, and I loved what he did. You know, if Kelly watches this, I love what he did. I really wanted that shot in there, but you know, I got outvoted. Like, it's just too gory for a Christian film. He had, you know, he had this big hole in the hand. You could like see through it. And
Kelly's awesome at that.
Yeah, I loved it. And
he taught me how to do like an open wound on the set of Unwanted, and there's a scene where Krista Watson, your cohort in Plain Sight, she cuts her hand on a plate, and so Kelly came over. He was nice enough. He was showing me how to make the wound on her hand, and he got this. I don't remember. He used like flour and cornstarch and stuff, and he built up this ravine, and it was so realistic. And I it broke my heart to tell him. I was like, well, Kelly, if I make this look that gnarly, I got to go back and film the rest of this movie with her hand wrapped up, because I can't use it if it's it was so cool. But I mean, I learned a lot from him. He's definitely I mean, watching Sheepdogs is the reason that really motivated me to go kind of pursue this again. And then I got to work with them on Silent War, and that's still out there. I'm not sure where he's at with it right now, but I know he's working on some other things as well. So
yeah,
Kelly's always he's always going to be top notch in my book, because
me too.
Really kind of got me going. He motivated me, gave me some tough love at times, and I'll never forget that, and I'll always appreciate him for it. And matter of fact, he did the drone shots for me on the London school disaster. He did the drone shots for that, and it's just any opportunity I have to have him on set, I'll jump back, because it's always cool to get his take on things.
That's right. So
today, I want to throw this out there. I mean, I know you guys, the playback on these things are not the best, so the links are going to be down below. I want you guys to go watch these trailers, go watch these movies, support other filmmakers, please. And David, it's thank you so much. Stick around for a few more minutes, because we got to talk about Mitch.
Oh, sure.
But I have one more trailer I want to show everybody. And now, CJGoodwyn, have you met CJ?
No, I haven't.
I got to get him on this thing. I mean, we'll turn this into a big round robin one day. But CJ, he's got a new movie coming out called Jackson, and it's a prequel to GH5. Did you have a chance to see GH5?
No, I didn't.
I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. And CJ, if you happen to watch this, feel free to comment below to correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it's only available for rent on Vimeo. So I watched GH5, and I'm convinced he is like a very talented writer. I mean, it was an entertaining movie. I enjoyed it. We had a few exchanges after that, and then he immediately went into production. I mean, he's had 2 years. Just finished his second movie in 2 years. I mean, so it's kind of like similar. I mean, well, you shot the one in 2014, then you shot Sense of Urgency. But I mean, you know how hard that is. Production, and you got to turn around and you start all over again. Usually, you do a production, and you spend a year and a half promoting it, getting it out there. And he's doing both. So he promoted GH5. He got it out there. I think he went to South by Southwest to try and get it into the festival scene. Then he started working on this film Jackson, and the trailer was released today. So I got to watch the trailer for the first time today. Y'all are gonna get to watch it. I want to get David's take on the trailer for GH5. I mean, for Jackson.
Okay.
So let's see. You said you've only seen part of it, right?
Yeah, I only seen part of it because I was kind of in a rush when I was watching it driving. So
he's driving down the road, and
yeah.
All right, that's good, man. All right, he's driving down the road, and
yeah.
All right, that's good, man. All right, here we go. Let's switch over to this. I'm getting better at how fast I can flip this around. I need to increase my my network performance. They got a new 300 pipe. I need to grab that. All right, here we go.
You know, Jackson, that one of your pictures shows a murder from 20 years ago.
No, sir. I just feel like we could start with the job.
I wonder how the kids would find it.
Maybe you should ask.
Look at me.
Jackson was attacked. And who? When? I took Jackson with me on Walker State investigation. I lost him. He was with someone. He was with someone. I need he relives what happens to his students. You can scared of what they don't understand. But I'm in. It's my job to study and try to find ghosts and help them.
And how you try to find mommy?
So that is slated for next year, come out next year. But what do you think of that one?
Yeah, it looked like it was made pretty good. I mean, I noticed some actors in there that I've worked with, Tony Gibson and Les Best, two phenomenal actors. And I'm looking forward to working with those guys again. I don't know CJ, but I'm sure our paths will cross as indie makers. And but yeah, it looks good, you know, for a horror film. Now, I'm not a big horror fan, but it doesn't mean I don't watch horror films. And that looked pretty scary. I mean, you might have saw me get under my desk at one point during the trailer.
I tell you, the thing that I was really interested to see is just the growth. You know, because his first film, and just see, you know, the growth into a second project, and how he's, and if it lives up to that trailer, which it looks like it will. I mean, the acting looks like it's just gotten better, and the storytelling. I think he's a hell of a storyteller to begin with, but I think the storytelling is getting better. Is just there's improvement across the board, and it's not going to take much for him to catch fire.
Right.
He's definitely got it. I like the genre. I think the genre it sells, especially when you don't have big name actors. If you go for distribution, you know, you can get away with that in horror films without having named actors. It's a lot tougher when you got the action flicks, and you're rolling out like Bob Smith. You know, who's the star of this film? Bob Smith. You know, it's like
Bob Barker.
Yeah, Bob Barker.
The price is wrong.
But if you had Bob Barker starring in like a Sylvester Stallone action flick, and I bet you could get distribution for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It could happen.
Actually, now I'm not saying I don't like all horror films. There's a lot that I do like. You know, I'm a classic of some of the old ones. You know, like Stephen King stuff, like Misery and Cujo. It's some of those type of films. But it is on my agenda to write a horror film one day. I have one in mind. It's just way on the back burner. More of a true to life, not anything about demonic spirits or ghosts or whatever. It's going to be more of a.
I think Stanley Kubrick is probably. I mean, you get him and you get Hitchcock and.
Yeah.
But I mean, Stanley's got he's got the brass that comes with it from all those awards, you know, all those Oscar wins. I mean, you look Clockwork Orange, you know, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket. I did. Stanley Kubrick did Full Metal Jacket, and just a host of other stuff. You know, it's just, I mean, but that being said, I think The Shining really. I took my kids to see Ready Player One. Have you seen this movie?
Not yet. I'm going to rent it soon.
So picture this: packed theater. I got a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old. We're sitting at the front, and I'm not going to ruin it for you. We'll just say they did a really good job of tying in The Shining of all movies.
Really?
Into one of the things they had to do. And I mean, I'm going, oh no, you know, cover eyes. Don't play my youngest daughter. She was having none of that. This whole scene with the blood coming out the elevator, and I'm just saying, oh god. So what rating was this?
You know, I may need to get with old CJ and tell him this idea I've always had. You know, it came to me in college. I actually had a dream about it. I dreamed a movie one time, and it was like had a beginning and a middle, and this was the weirdest thing. And I was like, I'm going to write this as a movie one day. I just never have it. The story's always been with me. You're saying, well, what is that story? Well, you just have to talk about that another time.
So let's tie this all in. You've agreed to participate in my short film. This is I'm excited about this, but you know, I'm also scared, nervous. You know, just like anybody would be. You know, when you're working on something, you know, because you get down to the deadlines and you got all the stuff. I mean, everything. You know, wardrobe, craft services, grips. You know, is the set going to be ready? What do I got to do to the other location? You know, everything. But what do you, without giving anything away, we can't give anything away, right? But why don't you give the audience your take on what you think of your character and what you're thinking of the story as a whole, and you know, and the underlying objective.
Yeah. Well, normally I don't even do short films. And not because I think I'm better or anything. It's just I've been going for feature films. You know, I've been going trying to pay the bills and stuff like that. And but
I
I
have those
I like your
pictures
work.
of you. I have those pictures of you, and if you want those pictures back,
But I like you, Paul, and I like your work. And I read the script, and I was like, this would definitely be a challenge. And I think actors, you know, I think they kind of gravitate towards roles sometimes it's going to challenge them. Uh, you know, not just a bunch of easy one-liners with no emotion. I mean, this character's in depth, and I'm going to have to pull off some stuff I haven't done before. So it's, you know, it's a challenge to me. You know, I'm going to have to look. Not inside myself, because this character is definitely not within me. So I'm really going to have to look beyond myself to other individuals and try to imagine that frame of mind, because it's hard for me to comprehend.
yeah. So then that brings us to that question we had earlier, where you know, I work with people of faith. I mean, I live in East Texas. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you don't have to go far to find someone that's, you know, devoutly faithful. And some of the subject matter that I broach is not always the easiest for people to consume. And because I'm trying to, my whole purpose here is to kind of, I like to draw attention to just human nature.
Yeah.
And the ironies and hypocrisies, I guess. You know, the purpose of this film is, it's a short film. Anybody thinks it's a feature, trust me. We get some investors, maybe David comes back and he cranks it up about 10 notches and gets paid. But I've had people.
I get paid.
Yeah. I give you the pictures back, remember? So I want to show you this prop, if I could. All right. Who would have ever thought that something that was bent, when were Polaroids invented? Back in the 50s and 60s? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that an innocent picture of my daughter testing would look this creepy? I mean, that's just creepy in itself.
Yeah, it is creepy.
So, no, but how do you when you're dealing with people of faith, and you're saying you're trying to tell a story, and you're trying to draw attention to the subject that's a serious subject. It's not about human trafficking, which, I mean, there's other movies out there that cover that more than, you know, well enough. But this is more about abduction, abuse, and control, and it's being kind of happens every day right in front of us, and we just don't see it.
Yeah. I'll answer your question. I mean, because it was in the mainstream news not long ago about that family who had like 10 kids that kept them pretty much on lock and chain.
Yeah.
It was happening in front of everybody's sights, but nobody really paid attention to it, you know, until one of them escaped. And then one of them didn't even know what a police officer was. But so anyways, I think your short film has a message in it, and it can be a good message to get out. And I am a Christian, so I mean, there are some roles I won't do. I mean, there's some roles I won't do. I won't do anything to really go against God or to hurt the faith. But I'm playing a character that's not a Christian in this point, you know. But I try to approach it this way. I try to be a light in a dark place, you know, on set, to the people around me. I mean, David Ford is not the crazy whatever guy, you know. Somebody else I'm playing a different type of role there, you know. So it's not me. I'm pretending to be somebody for a greater purpose of getting a message out to the world, you know, to start paying attention around you, what's going on.
So
you know,
your portrayal is more of an you're exposing.
exactly. I want to expose evil, and your film, to me, it's a way to expose evil. You know, so I'm game for that.
Awesome. Well, David, I really appreciate. I told you 30, 40 minutes, but like in typical movie fashion, it went on for an hour. Yeah. But I really appreciate you coming on and doing this with me. You know, the theme of these Monday Night live streams is Miami life, but I find that I've learned so much from people like yourself, Tony Gibson, Kelly Johnson, Gary Martin, CJGoodwyn, and Sarah Lewis, a whole host of people that I love watching what you guys are doing. I love talking to you and kind of picking y'all's brains on these subjects and understanding your take on it. So thank you for coming on this thing with me, and we're gonna push your stuff.
And also, if they want to see those films, like find them at one website, it's cherubfilms.com.
I will definitely put that in the links. I actually have it. I shortcutted it as well, but we didn't jump over to that website. But I'll add it when I post this. You guys check all that. So you got I'm gonna get you links to all the trailers. I'm gonna get you links to Cherub Films. I'll get you the links to at least the Amazon Prime versions. I think I have those in there already. So
and one more thing, Paul.
Yeah.
And the new film I'm trying to make is Preacher Man, and it's on Facebook at Preacher Man Movie. If they just type in that Preacher Man Movie, it should take them here. It's supposed to be in an orange jumpsuit, with the Bible, but it's
show David Ford some love.
Yeah, just give it a page of like. I'd appreciate it.
Just like it, share it, and if you like what you're seeing here, we're Secondhand Productions. Definitely hit the like button, hit that bell, find out when we're gonna do more stuff, and until then. Have fun. If you like making movies, just go out and do it.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Paul. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.